Greetings, citations, what's good everybody, it's your boy Card. Today we're talking about one primary income source that a lot of YouTubers use, that is Patreon. Now we're going to be going a bit more in depth with it because I realized I kind of like touched upon it in a couple of other videos in the past, but I want to really truly illustrate the power of Patreon for those of you who are creating content on YouTube and looking for other sources of income outside of just YouTube AdSense alone, because if you're only using YouTube AdSense alone, you're doing YouTube wrong, and I've mentioned that in previous videos. Now in this particular one, I want to go ahead and show you guys one YouTube channel, which I always just show you guys my own channel to begin with, right? Let's start with the channel that I just got monetized right now. Now this particular YouTube channel has 1,200 subscribers. It's been crazy since we hit 1,000 subscribers just a few weeks ago. We've already eclipsed 1,200 and on the path of growing to past 1,300. I thank everybody for all the love and support. But as you guys can see, even though we're past 1,000 subscribers in our earn section, we are going to be hitting that 4,000 watch hours in just a few more days, as soon as YouTube updates the eligibility claims and stuff like that, right? But we could have actually been earning money way beforehand if we were on Patreon. Now I am on Patreon for other content that I do produce, and I just want to show you guys one of the Patreon accounts that I have, and here we go here. So this particular Patreon account is one that I use for, like, say TV show anime reactions, everything like that, and I've had this Patreon for years, and we're talking about, like, it's terribly outdated, right? We're talking about a Patreon that used to have around I believe I had around 1,000 paid members. Now I could be wrong, so that's why we have this website called Graphtreon, which actually gets to show you like your Patreon earnings or other YouTubers Patreon earnings and stuff like that. So I believe I should be up there. So I have two here, and I can actually look at the data to see what we had like a long time ago, right? And you guys can see the estimated earnings per month is anywhere between $35 to $444. I can tell you right now, we're not doing anything near the $414 because I haven't really been utilizing the Patreon as much as I could have, because we have been shifting focus in terms of the amount of content that we've uploaded. But 5 years ago, we had all the way up to 805 paid members, and like I said, because of multiple hiatuses that's happened over the course of the time, we have lost Patreon members. So that's why we're all the way down from 800 in a peak of 2020 all the way down to 44. So the goal is to, of course, create content consistently and pretty much revamp the way I'm doing my own personal Patreon. Now there's a few examples I'm going to be showing you guys of people who are making a lot more on Patreon, obviously, and it's not doom and gloom if you have a Patreon that's like sunk all the way to the bottom, because this is dealing with content that we were producing in 2020 that dealt with anime reactions, and the best course of action is to, of course, upload anime reactions, but also try to build outside of that. Now I'm going to show you a couple of different reaction channels, because at the end of the day, anybody can make a Patreon and start producing content. For people who are in, I want to say, the YouTube growth, the business growth niche, I think a lot of this would most likely deal in the realm of coaching. Now I'm not sure how most people feel with coaching. Some people have even asked me to coach them and stuff like that. I've been in a coaching program for a couple of weeks now, and I think what I'll get into is, like, coaching is either hit or miss. It's either you are trying to implement everything that another person is telling you to do, and a lot of people can't fake testimonies and stuff like that. That's not the program that I'm in, or even the Discord that I'm in. You know, a lot of people are producing real results, but it truly is, you get what you put in for that. So Patreon can actually be utilized for that. Let's say I open up a Patreon tier and I'm doing, like, you know, $5, you know, channel reviews, and like working with whoever signed up for that month, and it's like a whole type of analysis, like typing up like an entire game plan and stuff like that. For a lot of people would ask, hey, do I like plan out my videos and stuff like that? And I mean, like, there's a lot of things that I even do, like, especially when I try to map out what videos I'm gonna do. Like for today, we're talking about, like, look at this, I have videos like posted for every single day, right? So that's just like a look at what I just gave you guys right here, like a quick look at stuff that I try to plan. or even other YouTubers, like one of my homeboys, Salvi, from Salvi and Family. Like I typed up like an entire channel analysis, what they can do, like thumbnails and stuff like that. So that's stuff that, you know, you can have a Patreon for immediately. If you're a reaction channel, or if you're a channel that pumps a lot of content in a specific field, especially towards the anime, TV niches, the movie niches and whatnot, then you can possibly in the future have a Patreon that looks like any of these two, like your boy Roshi, that has 63,000 members in their Patreon. Mind you, they almost have 1 million subscribers. So this is just a portion of, you know, that crowd that's on their Patreon. And not even that, not all 63,000 members are actually paid members, but from the 63,000 members that are there for free on Patreon, now they have 23,000 members that are paid. And if you go through their tiers, and I always show these like so just to encourage people to know that this is something that's possible, the majority of people are in their $10 tier. So if you were to say that, hey, you know what, maybe just 15,000 people are in the 10,000 or in the $10 tier, then that's still $150,000 a month that they can be clearing. And there's another reaction YouTuber, pretty popular, and Nicholas Light TV. He has 59,000 Patreons that are, you know, members itself. But then you go to the about section, you see that there is 15,000 members there. So you can say it's pretty much earning around the same amount of money or a bit less, depending on which way you cut it, depending on which tiers there are, right? And this is essentially what it is with Patreon. You know, it's another way for content creators that create content, especially if you're talking about TV show reactions, anime reactions, even if you're doing reviews and people want to see like that uncut type of content, that's where you host on Patreon. Now, this is not only just to say that that's the only thing you need to utilize for Patreon, right? There's a lot of other content creators out there who are not using copyrighted content to build up their Patreon, right? They're not doing things that, like, say me or a couple of other YouTubers are doing. So you even have popular rappers from back in the days that have now rebranded everything to have a Patreon, like the Joe Budden podcast, right? Now you can hide all this information to see what people, so people don't know how much you're making, because of course this is literally pocket watching, right? At the end of the day. However, you can see that the majority of people are going to be in this $10 family tier that they have. And I mean, you can just go through and look through all their posts, like, and just see what are some of their most popular posts here. Like we passed one that had like 3,000 likes on it. There's another one that has 3,000 likes. That's from March 10th. This one has 3,200 likes. And you literally can keep going down. All right, so this one has 3,600 likes, right? And in order to unlock this post, you have to pay a total of like $5 a month for that particular post. So 3,600 people want to see this post here, right? And this is literally how it is. You know, this one's available to all paid members. This one is locked to the $10 tier, and there's 1,500 people in this $10 tier. So you're doing the math. That's like, all right, that's a, you know, like that's quick, $1,500 right there, essentially, right? Mind you, there's multiple types of content that you can do and post to Patreon. There's people who are artists that can post their, you know, uncensored art / their other art, that essentially other people who want to actually buy your post from you or stuff like that, you can have on your Patreon as well. For those people who are in the, say, novel sphere, or I like to call it novel sphere because I like to write myself. I'm thinking about doing webtoons and web comics and stuff like that. There's Patreon for you as well. You know, and this particular content creator here is creating web novels. It's called The Primal Hunter, and with 18,000 members, they are clearing $75,000 a month. Mind you, like, this is just what they post on Patreon. This doesn't include what they have going on, say, Amazon or any other website that they share, you know, this particular web novel on. We're not even talking about them utilizing the power of YouTube to expand their further reach, but then you're talking about the licensing that you can do with original content. And that's something that I myself want to also dabble with because I am writing, you know, a web novel myself. So the possibilities are actually endless, you know, and a lot of people just only see YouTube AdSense as the only way to make money. And I think in 2025, a lot of new content creators should know better now. Like, you know, sure, YouTube AdSense is the first hurdle in getting and earning a full-time income when it comes to YouTube, right? But now it's also thinking about what are the next steps to start building from YouTube and start building more financial income, outside of just AdSense itself. Now, I've talked about this on previous channels when I literally talk about music, and I get questions about this in the comment section a lot. And I want to use this video, if it gets watched up, further clear up some things about music channels themselves. So I have my music channel here, which is my music reaction channel, right? And as you guys can see, this channel is monetized, right? And this channel doesn't earn anything. It's 73 cents, even though it's like 61,000 views, right? And I could push this further and further if I wanted to, right? But if you guys look here, like all these videos that have copyright restrictions, it says monetization ineligible, sharing, ineligible on, ineligible sharing. So there are some artists out there that will share their revenue with you if you do reactions to them. The majority of these most popular artists are not. You see the videos here that says partially blocked. That's because YouTube has been blocking a lot of videos from Russia and Belarus because of the war with Ukraine. And that started about, I think, a year or two ago. But that does not affect your video. You can have all of these videos copyright content ID. These are not copyright strikes. These are just content ID claims. And what's going to happen is that the people who own these songs are going to make money off of these songs. Yes, these things can change. That's just the fate of YouTube at the end of the day. However, this was put into system 10 to 11 years ago during the first adpocalypse. Look, I had a YouTube channel that was completely nothing but K-pop reactions, right? And that channel is the channel that I have here that went to 66,000 subscribers, right? Now on this channel, I have videos that are in a whole entirely different niche, right? But when I was uploading K-pop reactions, you guys can see here, 440,000 views on this K-pop reaction. At a certain point in time, this video was able to make money. And then YouTube was just like, yeah, you know what? Nope. Like YouTube just like cut it completely off, right? And at this time, I also was in what was called an MCN. So I just want to illustrate this, that, you can, at any point in time, YouTube's algorithm / their monetization policies can change at the flip of a switch. Who's to say that tomorrow, literally tomorrow, people who make reaction videos to anime like me or react to TV shows and movies, who's to say that all those videos won't be demonetized if they decide to go the route of what music companies have done and say, hey, if you play any of our song, we're claiming all the copyrights? Who's to say that won't happen, right? So this is why people make Patreon, right? This is why you can have a content creators like Kes and Han, who I keep shouting out because they're really nice girls. This is why, a Kes and Han can thrive in the space as well, where they're uploading just reactions to K-pop, right? Essentially, that's what this is. They can have 22,000 members and they can make, close to, like with 3,000 Patreon paid members, let's say they're all in the $10 tier, like there's no reason why you can't say that's almost like 30,000. You can't say like clear like $20,000 at the minimum, like $10,000 from reaction videos that they have on their Patreon, right? So this is just one of the primary building blocks. I can tell you that personally for me, because I have multiple different YouTube channels, I have a channel that's for the TV, the anime, and those reactions. So what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks / months is rebuilding up how many paid members we're going to have at the end of the year. So I'm going to be cleaning up this Patreon, right? There's 2,200 posts that I got to go through in order to figure out what I want to keep and what I need to delete. I need to clean things up. I need to change around the tiers and the pricing. I need to change around like all of the other things that like the identity of the Patreon. And I need to be consistent because, those 800 people that I showed you guys that we had in the very beginning, they left for a reason. And that's because consistency, that's because we wasn't being consistent. And that's what my major goal of this year is. Consistency creates cash. So if I want to have like 1,000 Patreons, I need to grind. I need to put out content that's valuable on YouTube that will give people a reason to support on Patreon. You know, maybe I'm trying to outpost the competition. You know, like if the competition is posting, let's say like 15 times a week, maybe I need to OD and go like 30 times, 45 times a week. You know, if if that maybe just what might be required of me in order to start to get myself out there. A lot of people are too focused on quality at the end of the day, and they're neglecting the real truth about YouTube, and that's quantity. Quantity is ruling right now on YouTube, and a lot of people aren't really talking about it because a lot of people are still half baked on outdated information, right? Listen, I am also thinking about quality at the same time, but I want to have selective quality at the moment. That's why I'm investing, money into thumbnails, because yeah, I can make the thumbnails, but I'd rather pay somebody so I don't have to think about making those thumbnails right now and then refocus on what I need to do. And that's just putting out more content, because at the end of the day, the thumbnails goes into your packaging, and the packaging works with together with the thumbnail and the title itself. Because if no one is watching your video, if no one's going to click your video because your thumbnail is not good enough or your title isn't attractive enough, then it doesn't matter how long your video is at the end of the day, right? When I see videos on my my Card Empire channel, which I've been showing off here, and I see like the thumbnail, the click-through rate is like 7.2. It says, great job. People on YouTube are choosing to watch this video more often than usual, and the average view duration is also up. That lets me know that, look, my thumbnail may not look the most appealing. It may not look like these other, larger YouTubers and whatnot, but that's because I realized that, one, this thumbnail strategy works for this type of video that I am producing. Two, when people see it in the sub box, they automatically know it's a video of me. Three, that doesn't mean I won't in the future try to experiment and make even better thumbnails, because when I look at the field itself, if I were to go to, let's just go to YouTube in general, right? If I go to YouTube in general, we go to my homepage, like I see this thing from Gilbert's Arena, right? And I look at the thumbnail, I'm like, oh, that thumbnail's appealing. Those are celebrities / people who are authorities in the basketball space. I've never seen a video from Brian G. Johnson, but apparently their verified YouTube channel, and the thumbnail looks really good. You look at WWE, which is something I watch religiously. Maybe I should do more content about it. And I know that there's people who are subscribed to people who react to WWE content on Patreon as well. And I look at the way they did their thumbnails, right? So when I look at a lot of these different types of videos and I look across YouTube to see how people are doing their thumbnails and whatnot, there's always a reason why people like stop and be like, you know what, I want to click on this thumbnail. Maybe, look, this is in Japanese. I don't know how to read Japanese, but it is an anime. The thumbnail looks appealing. I'm going to click it. I say it got 1 million views. I'm going to click it to see what it's about, right? So that's the barrier that we're trying to get over first. It's the packaging. And with great packaging, you can start to convert a lot of people to Patreon. Because at the end of the day, once you get the great packaging down, then it's about the value that you give the people in the words that you're spitting, right? At the end of the day. So maybe through the words that I'm spitting, people might find value and want to click over to that Patreon to see exactly what more value they can get. And they'll stick around if I'm providing them with consistency of content. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this particular video itself. I do think it's a powerful asset. And what I'd like to do is in the future start updating people, start showing them, well, this is how the Patreon is growing and stuff like that. Just to know that I practice what I preach. I'm not going to talk about something that I'm trying to do or advertise something that I think somebody else should do and not do it myself, right? That's just me at the end of the day. So hopefully you guys found this video valuable. If I talk about Patreon again, which I will, then that means that the numbers are trending upward, right? And I have 3 Patreons. So I have this TV / reaction style Patreon. Then I'm going to be incorporating live streams pretty soon, so I'll stay tuned for that. But I'll be updating how this grows. I'll be updating how the music Patreon grows, and then I'll be updating how my non-YouTube stuff in terms of like web novels and other business things grows on the other Patreon. Like I said, maybe, who knows, in the future I might do something coaching wise, but I think I need to build up a bit more of a I guess you could say a reputation and actually not bullshit people, which I'm not, and then show people I'm not bullshitting them as well, because at the end of the day, we try to be as transparent as possible with our data. So let me know what you guys think about that, and I'll be catching you guys tomorrow for another video. So stay tuned. You already know, it's your boy Card, and I'm out. Doses.